So good morning again. As I said, we are celebrating and remembering Swami Kriyananda, who's the founder of Ananda Worldwide. And we thought it would be fun this morning to have more than just me, a minister, standing up here talking to you. We asked several people to share. David and Kalimali and Jacob and Darshana are all going to share a bit about Swami. Swami Kriyananda's presence in Ananda goes much deeper and much farther than all of the music he's written, all of the books he wrote. His friendship, his example of discipleship, his consciousness permeates all of Ananda. It nurtures and sustains us through everything we do together. So I'd like to first introduce David, and let's hear what you'd like to share with us. Thank you.
20 years ago, I walked into this very building and tears began streaming down my face. Yogananda was my guru. I knew that with all my heart, and the chants that we sung that morning just brought tears streaming down my face. Then the choir got up to sing, and I thought, oh, how nice this man, Swami Kriyananda, happened to write some music. Isn't that sweet? Now, I'm a professional musician. I have a very discriminative ear and a sophisticated palette of what comes. And it was a very sweet, simple song, much like the song that we just sang just a few minutes ago. And I was curious, but not moved to my core. I didn't know anything about Swami Kriyananda. But over the next few weeks, as I put away my discriminating ear and started to open up my heart and started to develop the tools of perception, I began to realize there's a lot more to this man that I need to find out about. I sang his music and my consciousness changed. How is this possible? How is it that a melody can make me feel placement of energy in my body? Nobody had ever told me that before. So I had to find out for myself. I moved down to the village and got to work closely with him and the music for 12 years. And there I witnessed amazing, amazing things. How this man was able to carry himself with an output of energy that put all of us to shame. He was able to write books, write music, record his audiobooks. And here is where my personal interaction happened the most. He would come down and record, take his books like The New Path or Autobiography of a Yogi or The Essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Big books that are the type that you start to read and you think, oh my gosh, am I ever going to get through this book? And eventually you do, and you're like, hooray, it took me a really long time to do it, but I did. He started from the beginning, and he would go for hours on end with the intense concentration that wore me out. and then it was my job to edit those readings, to take out the little pauses or the mispronunciations and put them together so that you could feel his inspiration coming through. And on one of those days, I brought my daughter with me. Ka-thump, 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 ka-thump went Caitlin's 4-year-old bottom as she followed me down the stairs to the recording studio. As soon as we got down there, Swami's face appeared outside the door. He opened the door as if to say, what on earth was all that racket? Oh my gosh, I was aghast because I'd seen how he had the strength of power to deal with issues that came up. And I really did not want to be a distraction to interrupt his work, his intense work that he was doing. Ka-thump, ka-thump, ka-thump. She finally made it down the stairs. And so I said pranam. I pranam to say, good morning, Swami. I'm sorry about that. And Caitlin went right up to him and said, good morning. And then she started to peek around the doorway like this, as any interesting, inquisitive 4-year-old would do. And I was aghast at this forwardness of my daughter, and I started to apologize for her. And Swami just said, oh, would you like to see where I lived? I felt even worse because, here we were impinging more on his time, and I knew how valuable that was. And so she nodded, and he took her back into his living quarters. And I had seen him interact with dignitaries, with high-level people to function in public with a grace and ease and thank you. And here he treated my daughter, my 4-year-old daughter, who I was afraid was being a pest, as well as he did any of those dignitaries, any of those people of high placement in society, of high placement in their consciousness. He showed her, this is my bedroom, this is my living room. And at every moment I was looking for those cues of, please get your daughter out of here now. I'm being gracious, but my time is running out. It never happened. It never happened. In fact, I felt I was being distracting to what was happening there in that moment. And afterwards, she was done. And then she looked up at him, and he quoted her on this a few days later. Thank you, Swamiji, but why do you look so old? And he laughed. He got so much joy out of that simple interaction. So for me, Swami Kriyananda impressed me so deeply on his levels of attunement, of discipleship. And finally, he has taught me how to be an inspiration amplifier. For every performance that he was present at, something came alive within the music. Something came alive within me, within my energy, that I just had to say, hello, what is this? And so when I have the wonderful opportunity to work with the choir, I bring that gift that he gave me, that gift of, I'm here, I'm going to resonate back to you the same joy that Master gave me. That same little bit of joy that you're feeling inside now, I'm going to act as an amplifier so that you can feel more of that divine presence within you.
Please.
I'm pregnant, so pregnancy brain, I require a little bit of notes just in case. I just wanted to share a little bit about Swami Kriyananda's last word, which was anything. And that word in itself is such an inspiration because it carries two really important qualities that really Swamiji exemplified throughout all that he did, and that is courage, and it's also willingness. This kind of say yes to life approach where he gave everything his all, his saying yes to anything that God and Guru gave him in his life. He was definitely an inspiration in this way, and it's no coincidence that anything was his last word. There was this one year in Swamiji's life that Naya Swami Asha talked about in her book, As We Have Known Him, and in that year, he was facing incredible challenges. He was not only going to be facing open heart surgery, or just at least heart surgery, he was even told by his doctor that he would need to take that whole year off to rest, or else he might be facing death because his body was in such a fragile state from such an operation. And instead, that year, he was the most active that he'd been in some time. He recorded an album. He was finishing a book publication in a very short amount of time because the publishers had asked him to up the due date by several months that he wasn't expecting. He was giving tours around the US and being a speaker for a lot of different groups and centers of Ananda throughout the country. And yet, what he did was have that attitude of anything. Yes to his guru, Yogananda. I will do this, I will serve you, I will do anything I can to make this world a better place. And despite all of that, his open heart surgery and all of those things that he was doing, he also was facing testimony. There was a lawsuit against him, and it was full of incredible negativity. And what he did instead was raise his energy to this level of complete positivity by focusing on all these other things that he could do to serve. He continued to carry that warrior-like courage through all of those moments. And the main thing that I feel like this shows is that we can all face our challenges with this attitude of anything. And just that one word, we can use that in a moment where we're feeling very maybe worried or just struggling with all of those things that are facing us in that challenging time. We can say yes to anything because we know that the reason that it's there is because we're loved. We're loved by God. We're loved by Spirit. And all of these things that we experience in life are God's way of loving us. And how could we not say yes to anything when we carry that trait, that trust and that faith that we are loved, that we're a child of God, just like Swamiji felt about everything. He had such childlike trust and faith that whatever God was giving him, whatever his guru gave him, the work he did, the way he served, he said yes. He knew that that was for his own good, and he knew that the only thing he could do was rise to meet those opportunities. He saw every opportunity through any obstacle. And I just thought I would end with an affirmation that Paramahansa Yogananda wrote. It's very simple, but I found that for me it's my anything kind of mantra. The affirmation is, I will go forth in perfect faith, knowing that the power of omnipresent good will bring me what I need when I need it.
I only had a few interactions with Swamiji while he was still in his body, and even with those few moments, I could easily go on and on and on, and many levels of understanding that I've gotten from those moments. But I wanted to share about a night just over 3 years ago. I was out at Laurelwood, our retreat center, 30 minutes from here, and it was about 11 o'clock, I think. And I was in bed, still awake, and I heard knocking on a door down the hallway, and I heard some conversation, and someone walked down the hallway. And then I heard knocking on another door, and conversation, and knocking on another door, and this is curious, what's going on? It's very late at night, and what could this be about? And I was listening more and more carefully, and I heard Yudhishthira's voice, who's our on-site administrator, and he was going door to door. And then he got a few doors down, and I heard the words, Swamiji passed. And I just sat up in bed because I was shocked. I wasn't expecting that. And there was a moment of, oh my God, oh no, what does this mean? And even in that, even just thinking of him, I naturally tuned into him, and I felt this unbelievable wave of joy. And I realized Yogananda, his guru, had promised him he would be liberated at the end of his life. And I just said out loud, he's free. And I realized that he's completely omnipresent. Every last vestige, if there was any at that point, of anything holding him, limiting him in any way, was completely gone, and that he was completely with me and in me and everywhere. And I could feel his joy and this amazing expansive feeling so clearly. And so, I got the word that, people are going down to our chapel in the awareness house and have a vigil for him. And so I went down, and there were a number of other people already there, and it was quiet, and a number of people were crying. A lot of people had a lot more personal interaction with him than I'd had, and had more connection with him in his physical body than I had, and missed that. We weren't going to have that anymore, and that was sad. And I was, of course, sensitive to that, and at the same time, I felt there was so much joy. I felt giddy. I felt almost lightheaded, and it was hard to contain it. I wanted to laugh and sing, and I stayed there, and I was wide awake. I had so much energy that night, just kept not even praying, just feeling that experience. And there was this chant that kept coming to me that was just like going within me. And it's like I could feel Swamiji singing it, being it in me. And one by one, people went away. And I think we did healing prayers for him, for his soul, which was kind of interesting because he, of course, he'd attained the level at which he would never need healing again. But still, it was nice to connect with him and send ohms and, bless him and everyone who's connected with him in that way. And finally, I think it was about 3 o'clock in the morning, I was the last person there. And I went over to the harmonium, and I never played this chant before. But I was somehow easily able to figure it out. And it was, no birth, no death, no caste have I. Father, mother, have I none. I am he, blessed spirit, I am he. And for me, ever since then, that's been like Swamiji's chant, Swamiji's moksha for me. And because he is completely free, completely one with that light, with spirit now. And sometime after that, I was talking to a friend, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry that I was never blessed physically by Swamiji while he was in his body." And she just said, "Great! Isn't that perfect?" She's like, "You never have to feel bound by that experience, and that you get to tune into him in omnipresence now, like all the masters that have left their bodies. That you're not stuck thinking, oh, he was this wonderful man, he was my friend and guide, and he's moved on now. He's not available. He's actually more available." And that's been a very universal experience for people that have spoken about that time, that they feel him even more clearly, even more present in their thoughts, that to just, like Yogananda said, to those who think me near, I will be near. And of course, the same is true with Swamiji. And what a perfect continuation of the story for him, that even in leaving his body, he's become the perfect channel, a completely pure and open channel for our one eternal friend in God, omnipresent and always available to us.
I'm not pregnant, just old. This past Thursday, there was a tribute given in honor of Swami Kriyananda's 90th birthday at the village, in which Jyotish Novak, the spiritual director of Ananda Worldwide and Swami Kriyananda's successor, talked about his first meeting with Swami. And in that talk, he said, "My learning began in the very first moment that I met Swami." And when I heard him say that, this resonated really deeply with me, because I realized that I have had the same experience as I imagine many of us, or all of us that have met him, might have had. So I wanted to tell you a quick little story of my first meeting with Swami, which I'm stuck with now for the rest of my life. And the great learning that came from that meeting. 13 years ago this week, I became a disciple of Paramahamsa Yogananda. And I was living in the San Francisco Bay Area at the time. And not long after that, I heard that Swami Kriyananda would be giving a talk in Sacramento. I'd heard him before, but I wanted every opportunity to hear him again. So I went, and the talk was amazing and very powerful. And at the end of the talk, an announcement was made that Swami was tired, but he would like to spend a few minutes greeting and blessing those people that were new and had not had the opportunity to spend time with him like that before. So I was thrilled, and I got in line immediately at the opportunity of being with Swami. And as I waited my turn, the realization dawned on me that I would have to speak to him. And I became very nervous. What will I say? What do I have to say? What can I say? And so nervous that by the time that my turn actually came, I was completely tongue-tied. But I needn't have been, because Swami made me feel very comfortable. He took my hands in his. He smiled into my face. He looked deep into my eyes. And with that, I was able to relax and begin speaking. So I said to Swami, "Hello, Swami. I'm so happy to meet you. My name is Suzanne," which was my name at the time, and I'm a new disciple. And at this point, he interrupted me very gently with a slightly puzzled look on his face, and he said, "But I know you." And then he blessed me. And I left on waves of bliss and joy, floating, and at the same time very puzzled because I had no understanding what he meant. I wondered how he could possibly know me when we'd never met. So after some time, gradually I came to understand that Swami was not telling me he knew me personally, but universally and divinely. And with his smile, his touch, his gaze, his words, and his thoughts, he was offering me his divine friendship. This was a quality that Swami had that was so extraordinary, and I think it was best described in his book, Divine Friendship, Letters of Counsel and Reflection. In the foreword, I would like to read you just a little excerpt of that. What is a divine friend? Imagine someone who never judges, who loves you despite your faults, who sees you in terms of your highest spiritual potential, and is totally committed to helping you realize that potential. Imagine someone who gives you strength and understanding, seeking nothing in return, who offers but never imposes his views. Imagine someone who is always forgiving, respectful, and loving, even under the most adverse circumstances. This begins to describe Swami Kriyananda. And so it was. We have all been blessed, whether we met him personally or not, just by opening our hearts to him. We have all been blessed by his divine friendship. Thank you, Swamiji.
Thank you, Swami. Now we'll have our offering.